Maya Thompson, a 36-year-old woman, is the embodiment of effort and perseverance. Born and raised in a poor family in a small suburban town, Maya always knew that in order to change her destiny, she would have to create her own opportunities. From the time she was a little girl with big dreams, she learned how to fight through every challenge. And today she proudly wears the CIA badge, a symbol of all the hard work she has put in. Maya has a fixed routine. She runs every morning in an old park near her home. This park, with its tree-lined trails and weathered wooden benches, has been a part of her life since her college days. Even though the city has built a larger, more modern park, Maya still prefers the old one because of the sense of familiarity and the beautiful memories it holds. This morning was no exception. She wore a black mini skirt and a tight-fitting sports jacket, lacing up her running shoes and slinging a small sports bag over her shoulder. Inside the bag was her CIA badge and a Glock pistol, a gift from her father, along with the advice: living alone in a big city, you need a friend to protect you. It'll keep you safer. The badge is Maya's greatest pride because it represents years of relentless striving. As she began running, Jasmine could clearly feel her heartbeat syncing with her steady breath, as though each step was part of the music of life. Endorphins, the happiness hormones produced by the body during physical activity, spread throughout her body, giving her a light, relaxed feeling. The tension seemed to fade away, replaced by a sense of clarity and fresh energy. She felt as though she was being renewed, not just physically but mentally, as if all the day's worries were left behind. Each stride was a bridge to peace of mind, helping her relieve stress and enhance her focus for the day ahead. Indeed, mornings like this had become an essential part of her life, helping her maintain a balance between her busy work life and her precious personal moments. Everything seemed perfect, like a slow song following its natural course, until she encountered the figures of two men in police uniforms. They appeared suddenly on the trail ahead, their heavy footsteps seeming to demand everyone's attention. Their gazes didn't stop at simple observation but were filled with scrutiny and disdain. They eyed her from head to toe, their looks seeming to judge, as though they wanted to peel away her every secret. There was no attempt to hide their unfriendliness and suspicion. It was evident on their faces. However, Jasmine did not panic or alter her running pace. She focused on maintaining her steady breathing, ensuring that each step would not be interrupted, following the heart rate running method she had trained in. This method requires patience and determination, not easily swayed by any obstacles, whether it be judgmental stares or unexpected incidents. She knew that in order to achieve her goals, she had to keep moving, no matter what. A calm and powerful sense filled her mind, making their gazes seem faint and unable to shake her. But in the quiet morning air, one of the police officers, seemingly older, suddenly stepped forward and interrupted Jasmine's thoughts. He looked her up and down, then sighed with mockery before speaking in a derisive tone. "Good morning, young lady," the tall officer, later known as Nathan Hayes, smirked cynically. His smile held no friendliness but rather seemed like a sign of ridicule. "Out running early this morning, huh? But it seems like you need to stop for a bit so we can check you out." Jasmine wasn't prepared for this confrontation, but she managed to stay calm. She furrowed her brows, sensing something off about the actions of these two officers, and deliberately slowed down, maintaining a safe distance from them. She didn't want any conflict, but she also couldn't allow herself to feel threatened. "Check me." "Check for what?" "I haven't done anything wrong," she replied, her voice gentle yet clearly filled with doubt. The other officer, Jordan Clark, equally cold, spoke with a low, gravelly voice, each word pronounced with emphasis. He held his baton, lightly shaking it in his hand, as though preparing for an unfriendly conversation. "Take it easy, girl," he said, his gaze sweeping over her once more, as if searching for any reason to escalate the situation. "It's just a routine check. Who knows, you look a bit suspicious." Jasmine felt the tension in the air rising, but she decided not to let their discomfort shake her. Nathan Hayes took a step closer, his gaze lingering on her short sports skirt, as if he were judging her in a disrespectful way. "Nice sportswear," he said sarcastically, "but why don't you let us take a look inside your bag? Who knows, maybe there's something suspicious in there." Jasmine felt her blood boiling, but having faced many tense situations before, she knew that only calmness would help her get through this. The frustration inside her felt like a fire, but she took a deep breath, keeping her breath steady, and said in a firm but respectful tone, "I'm just running, and there's nothing but personal items in my bag. You don't have the right to search me without a valid reason." Although Jasmine's voice remained calm, she couldn't help but feel the injustice of being placed in this situation. The feeling of being watched, judged, and disrespected simply because of her skin color was unbearable, but she knew that if she let her anger flare, she wouldn't be able to stand her ground. She needed to remain persistent, hold on to her self-respect, and fight for the right to be treated fairly, wherever and whenever that may be. Chris Donovan sneered, his eyes shamelessly scanning her legs. "Hey, Bradley Cole, she sounds pretty smart. But look, a woman dressed like this, running alone in an empty park, don't you think we should make sure she isn't carrying anything dangerous?" Bradley Cole laughed loudly, reaching out as if to touch Maya's sports skirt. "Or maybe we should check if she's hiding something in that skirt. It'll only take a second." Maya stepped back, her gaze sharp as ice. "Don't do it. I'm warning you." "Oh, you're warning us," Bradley Cole sneered, his attitude cocky. Chris Donovan, standing beside him, chuckled loudly, eyes filled with provocation. But in that very moment, Maya decided she would no longer back down. She stood tall, her gaze icy as she stared directly at the two men, clutching the strap of her bag, ready for whatever situation might arise. "You two have crossed the line. Don't test my patience." The two officers were taken aback by Maya's strong reaction. But instead of backing off, they pushed forward, escalating the tension. "What do you really want?" Maya asked coldly, her patience running thin. "I still have a run to finish, so don't waste my time. You have no idea who you're messing with." "Oh, who do you think you are?" Bradley Cole raised an eyebrow, sneering. "Just a little girl walking on a trail, thinking you can talk down to us." Maya couldn't take it anymore. She moved toward them, her eyes burning like fire. "You're cops, right? Well, I'm sure you know that messing with people isn't part of your job. Don't push me any further." Chris Donovan, standing beside him, mocked her. "Who do you think you are giving orders to us?" Maya exhaled sharply, her gaze unwavering. "I'm not someone who's easily threatened. You can try, but don't expect me to just stay quiet and take it. The price you'll pay might make you regret this." Bradley Cole stared at her, his eyes flashing with anger, but then he lowered his voice, no longer laughing. "You definitely have some guts, but don't think you'll walk away from this so easily." Maya couldn't stand it anymore. She took a step forward, her eyes like flames. "Who do you think you are? Some bored guys in uniforms thinking you're all that? Don't lecture me." Bradley Cole couldn't keep up his smug attitude anymore. He stepped closer, his voice dripping with disdain. "Who do you think you are to talk back to me? A little girl like you thinks she can defy us?" Maya took a deep breath and threw her words at them like daggers. "I'm the one who will show you the cost of messing with me. You don't know me. Don't test my limits. Whatever you try, it won't change the fact that you're just a couple of pathetic men trying to play dirty tricks." Chris Donovan stood beside him, looking at Maya with a provocative gaze. "You must think you're something special, huh? Or are you just a girl trying to prove herself?" "Yes, I am something special," Maya replied instantly, her voice sharp as a knife. "And that special thing is that I won't tolerate the kind of bullying guys like you dish out. You're not cops, you're just men abusing your power. Don't think I'm afraid of you." Bradley Cole shouted in anger. "Do you even know what you're saying? Do you know who you're standing in front of?" Without waiting for an answer, Bradley Cole and Chris Donovan lunged toward her, aiming to subdue Maya quickly. One of them reached out to cuff her and search her bag. But before he could touch her, Maya coldly commanded, "Get your hands off me." The words were a warning, but they showed no intention of stopping. Instantly, Maya reacted with lightning speed. She swung her hand forcefully at Bradley Cole, the momentum knocking him off balance and sending him stumbling to the side. At the same time, she spun around and delivered a precise kick to Chris Donovan's stomach, forcing him to step back, gasping for air. Neither of the officers expected Maya's fierce response. They charged at her with the intent of overpowering her, but every blow they aimed at her was either dodged or blocked with ease. Maya didn't attack, but each time they tried to strike, she skillfully countered and used her agile body to push them back. She didn't rely on strength but on her technique and quick observational skills. When Chris Donovan came charging again, Maya spun around and swung her hand with such force that he was sent crashing to the ground. Bradley Cole, frustrated and furious, turned back to attack once more, but Maya was ready. She crouched low, easily deflecting his punch, then twisted his arm, causing him to lose balance and stagger. "Don't test me again," Maya said, her voice as cold as ice, as she watched the two men gasping, struggling to get back on their feet. Maya stood firm, her gaze cold and decisive, showing no signs of backing down. Bradley Cole and Chris Donovan, two police officers used to controlling every situation, now felt humiliated. They couldn't believe that a woman could defeat them so easily. Each time they fell to the ground, their pride was torn apart. Chris Donovan got to his feet, anger uncontrollable. "What the hell are you to beat us?" he growled, but the confusion in his eyes betrayed him. Bradley Cole, even while clutching his sore arm, couldn't hide the sense of defeat. They were police officers trained to handle any situation, but now they were being defeated by a woman. "Damn it," Bradley Cole shouted, but his anger couldn't mask the shame inside him. They had not only failed but also had to face the truth that their strength could not overpower someone as skilled and experienced as Maya. Maya sensed that this situation needed to end immediately. She didn't let herself get caught up in anger or feelings of triumph. She slowly opened her crossbody bag, not in haste, with each movement exuding calm and confidence. She pulled out something small, yet powerful, the CIA badge. The light reflected off the metal surface, making an undeniable statement. Bradley Cole saw the badge, his eyes widening and shock crossed his face. You're a CIA agent?" His voice faltered, unable to believe what he was seeing. Chris Donovan, still full of anger, stepped forward, but when he saw the badge, he stopped in his tracks, his face tense. "Why didn't you say so from the start?" He exhaled sharply, but the tension couldn't hide the regret in his eyes. Maya maintained her cold expression, not responding immediately. She just stared at them, each passing second a strong reminder. "I warned you," she said, her voice steady and powerful. "You have no idea who you're messing with." Bradley Cole swallowed hard, his anger slowly turning into concern. "Why didn't you say something earlier?" We were just doing our jobs," he said, trying to justify their actions. Maya looked straight at both officers, her voice cold but determined. "Apologies are not enough. Your bullying, harassment, and overstepping will be addressed." Not giving them a chance to respond, she immediately called Captain Liam Carter, their direct superior. She detailed the incident, providing ample video evidence of their misconduct. Since she was a CIA agent, she always wore a hidden camera at the collar of her jacket. After the brief call, she hung up and gave them one last look, saying nothing more. The next day, an official notification from the police department was sent to the two officers. They were stripped of their badges and suspended immediately pending investigation. However, Jasmine understood that this matter would not simply end there. She knew that if she didn't speak up and fight back now, such discriminatory and abusive behaviors would continue and perhaps even escalate. And this time, they might not encounter someone brave enough to confront them like she had. Those who were weaker, without the ability to resist or speak up, would continue to fall victim to injustice. For this reason, Jasmine's decision was clear: she would not let it go. She would see it through to the end. The following day, at a disciplinary meeting at the police department, Jasmine appeared as the main witness, not only as the victim but also as a representative for those without a voice. Captain Caleb Morgan, a middle-aged man with a stern face and piercing eyes, sat at the head of the table, unable to hide his disappointment as he heard the details of the case. He sighed, then looked directly at the two accused officers, his voice turning sharp with anger. "You two have shamed the entire police force. You are the ones responsible for protecting and maintaining order, yet you've destroyed the trust of the community. You've grossly abused your power." Jasmine stood tall, confident yet maintaining absolute composure. She didn't let the gazes of the two officers intimidate her, but instead responded with a steady voice. Without fear, I am not here for revenge. I'm not seeking mercy or forgiveness. But I believe the police force needs to uphold honor and fairness. Actions like this not only harm the victim but also erode the community's trust in you. If we don't set an example for society, then who will? Everyone in the room fell silent, no one daring to speak. Only the sound of papers being shuffled as Captain Morgan continued to glare at the two accused officers, as if emphasizing the seriousness of the matter. With irrefutable evidence from Jasmine's testimony and other witnesses, along with surveillance footage, the two officers had no more defenses. The final decision was made. They were immediately fired. The dismissal was quickly announced in the media, sparking a strong wave of debate in public opinion. Some of the public strongly supported Jasmine, praising her for bravely standing up against injustice and setting an example for all the oppressed. They believed her actions were necessary to cleanse the police force's tarnished image and restore public trust. However, others felt that Jasmine had been too harsh, showing no mercy for the mistakes of those officers. They believed that not everything needed to be handled so strictly, and that there were other ways to address the issue without escalating tensions. Jasmine, though a bit disappointed by the mixed reactions, remained firm in her decision. She knew not everyone would understand or agree with her choice, but she also knew that sometimes to change something big, we have to face opposition, stand firm, and keep fighting. And in her heart, Jasmine felt no regret for what she had done. She had not let fear or the silence of others stop her from doing what was right. She had fought for justice, for fairness, and that was something she would always be proud of. Despite the mixed reactions, Maya remained resolute in her decision. She understood that sometimes, in order to protect justice, we must make tough decisions. But in the end, the important thing was to maintain fairness and not let wrongful behavior continue. That night, when she returned to her apartment, Maya sat by the window, looking out over the city lit by lights. She felt a sense of relief, but at the same time, she understood that this was just a small part of the fight against injustice and abuse of power. Those lights reflected in her soul, highlighting a truth that was not easily erased. She had won one battle, but the real fight was still long ahead. The sudden ringtone of the phone broke her train of thought. It was Captain Liam Carter. "Maya Thompson, I want to thank you," he said, his voice sincere, carrying a respect that Maya rarely heard. "But not everyone has the courage to stand up like you did. You've reminded us of our responsibility and honor." Maya smiled faintly, but her gaze remained steadfast. "I just did the right thing, Captain. I hope that from now on, others won't have to go through the same terrible experience." "You did what not everyone would have the courage to do," Harry continued, his voice tinged with appreciation. "Justice sometimes needs people like you to keep it alive." Maya looked out the window, her eyes filled with thought. "Thank you, Captain. But justice never comes naturally. We have to fight to maintain it." She put the phone down, then looked at the CIA badge on her desk, a symbol of the responsibility she had chosen. Suddenly, she thought of her father. His words often echoed in her mind. Justice doesn't happen on its own. We have to make it happen. That feeling stirred within her, stronger than ever. Every victory, big or small, was a necessary step toward building a better world. And she knew, despite the long and challenging road ahead, she would never stop moving forward. The next morning, Maya returned to the familiar park. She continued to run, feeling each beat of her heart, strong, determined, like her own spirit. On the outside, nothing had changed, but inside her, everything was different. She wasn't just running to stay fit. She was running to keep her goal alive, to protect justice and defend those who couldn't protect themselves. The story of Jasmine Blackwell comes to a close, and we learn an important lesson about resilience, self-respect, and the power of standing up against injustice. More importantly, this story reflects the discrimination and oppressive attitudes that many women, especially women of color, face in society. Jasmine, with her determination and courage, refused to let herself be subdued by the officers who used their power to manipulate and abuse her. This shows that every individual has the ability to create change if they remain persistent and strong. The message of this story is clear. No matter what challenges we face in life, as long as we believe in our inner strength and never give up, we can overcome any adversity. No one can predict the limits of our endurance and resistance, and it is these strong reactions that can change lives and the environment around us. Imagine in 2030, will racism still exist? And if so, in what forms will it evolve? In the world we live in, these injustices have not disappeared completely, but we cannot deny that we are getting closer to a more equitable society. Thanks to individuals like Jasmine, who dare to face fear and injustice, society has witnessed significant changes. While there will still be challenges and obstacles, if each of us persists in fighting, not only by resisting but by creating safe spaces and equal opportunities for everyone, then by 2030, racism might just be a part of the past, a part that we learn from so we never repeat it. So today we can begin with small but meaningful actions to stand up for ourselves and others. We can show resilience in our work, in our relationships, and in the way we confront discrimination and injustice. In the next 5 years, if each of us maintains a strong spirit and continues to fight for justice, society will become more just. Jasmine's story is a reminder that we can create a better world if we unite and persist in standing up against wrongdoing. I would love to hear your thoughts on this story. Do you feel you would act like Jasmine if faced with similar situations? Or do you think there's another way we can address injustices without such a strong confrontation? Personally, I believe that everyone has the right to speak up and stand up for themselves, but sometimes patience and a wise approach can help us achieve our goals without hurting anyone. This story really makes me reflect on the limits of patience and courage in everyday life. This story is a fictional creation intended to raise awareness about important social issues. We want to emphasize individual and collective responsibility, the spirit of justice, and the importance of treating everyone with respect and dignity, regardless of their race, status, or circumstances. We firmly oppose all forms of violence, discrimination, prejudice, and injustice in society. The events in the story may be emotionally charged and educational, aimed at encouraging viewers to reflect on moral values, fairness, and compassion. Viewers should consider the impact before proceeding. If you feel the content may affect your personal emotions, please reflect carefully before continuing. We hope this story will contribute to promoting positive discussions and building a more just and compassionate society.